Greetings, citizens, and welcome to an adventure of the Real Comic Heroes podcast. My name is Travis,
And I'm Patrick.
and if you're new to the show, each episode we devise a plan to flood the podcast valley in an attempt to create a monopoly of reviewing nerdy movies. And this episode, we're taking our last look at an old friend, Sir Roger Moore, in his 1985 classic, A View to a Kill.
It's quite a view.
To a kill.
To a kill. Yeah. Oh. That totally took me out of the movie.
Oh, really?
I'm always like that when they shoehorn in the movie title.
The title, yeah.
And even more so with Christopher Walken. He's like, to a kill. he just Christopher Walken's the hell out of it.
Oh, it's so great, though.
Agree to disagree.
I love Christopher Walken.
I do too, but I just don't like it when they do that.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, we got View to a Kill, and I'm happy to report many fewer taglines for this one than Supergirl.
Well, like 20 some odd for Supergirl.
And they're all like a slight variation of the same thing.
Yeah. Hit us with a few taglines.
I will say it's nothing impressive though. All right. You pick your favorite. I already got mine. We have adventure above and beyond all other bonds.
And I'm kind of over like adventure, you know.
Yeah. Well, get ready. Bond is back, action packed as ever.
Yeah, same.
And then, personally, my favorite, it's withdrawn UK one sheet. Has Jane Bond met his match? I think we have a typo here.
What?
Yeah, that's what it says. And Jane Bond is capitalized.
Weird.
So I don't know. That's why it's my winner, because it's just what? And then we have one that I don't quite understand. It's just Smooth Operator. I don't remember that song being in the movie, but we got Sinister Adversary, Deadly Beauty.
That's my favorite.
And then has James Bond finally met his match? The correct spelling.
Right.
It's weird. Smooth Operator was the UK poster.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. What is he operating?
Maybe that song came out and they were just trying to like capitalize on the phrase "smooth operator." I don't know how.
I guess, but you'd think it would be in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you have it. So you're down with the Sinister Adversary.
I think so. Yeah.
It's the most
out of the rest of them.
Yeah.
So
trying to think of a better one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
It's easier when you have time to think.
Sure. Do you have any history with The View to a Kill?
None at all.
Okay.
Keeping my streak alive.
Nice. Yeah, this is one I've seen a few times in like various Bond rewatches, you know, but nothing more in depth than that. Just watched it a few times. So.
Well, I do take that back because in my head I was thinking of this as his farewell.
Yeah.
Roger Moore's, so I have been tainted a little bit.
Sure.
That.
Let's go over act breaks.
Yep.
So Act 1 ends with Bond being trapped in the car underwater, or I guess it ends with him hopefully surviving being trapped.
Act 1, he's dead.
Act 2, he's alive, and it ends with him, Bond, and Stacy arriving at the mine in the fire truck that they commandeered,
or as I like to call it, the Temple of Doom.
Right.
So yeah, it's a bizarre act break sequence because it's just huge amount of stuff like going on with yeah. I mean, that's always been my thing with Bond. It's just these suckers are long.
Yeah.
I mean, this one's over 2 hours as well. And I'm just like, holy crap! It's like almost 2 movies, and it kind of feels that way too.
Kind of, you think it's gonna all the horse racing stuff at the start? You assume it's gonna take a like it's such a big part of the beginning half of this movie,
Yeah.
and it's only just setup. There's no payoff to any of it, but I guess let's get into Act One and then we'll eventually talk about that. So
okay, so I was stoked to see the beginning of this.
okay.
I always like James Bond skiing. I don't know why.
That is my first note too. I wrote that it makes me feel good to see James Bond in the snow. There's,
I don't know what it is, but I mean, this one was probably my favorite ski sequence.
Okay.
Because it was not just skiing.
Yeah.
Skiing, snowmobiling, and the inventor of the snowboard.
Right. Or the popularizing snowboarding. Which did you look into any of the snowboarding stuff? Like,
yeah,
where it came from? So the photographer, the ski photographer for the movie, is a guy named Willie Bugner, and in like '84 he was out. I think he said he was in Colorado, just like on vacation or whatever, just skiing, and saw this guy. His name was Steve Link, who was like a champion snowboarder, which I didn't realize snowboarding was like invented in the '60s.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but it was like initially only popular in California, Colorado, and Utah. It had appeared in one other movie like the year before this, a short French film called Apocalypse Snow, and so this was definitely like its big breakthrough or breakout,
to a larger market.
Yeah. So that's one of those things that Bond movies are very like they do it a lot where they'll find something that's kind of niche and maybe cultural or get it on the ground floor, and then they'll just put it in their movies because a producer saw it and thought it was really cool. Or
it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense. The '60s, like '50s, '60s was like the big surf, like movies and surf, like culture was huge. So I could see people just transitioning that to the snow.
Yeah.
So I guess that makes sense. Yeah. And I'm sure some skiers lost a ski and on one for a while.
Yeah.
So,
and even like in this movie, he loses one of his skis and is able to stay upright. Is able to ski, and we've seen that in other Bond movies. I think maybe For Price Only or some other ones. Yeah, where they're able to ski with one ski, and it's always impressive. But
yeah, it's weird. It's like a trope of any skiing, like whether it's water skiing or snow skiing, somebody ends up on one ski.
Yeah.
It just happens all the time. Yeah. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun. Like the whole opening sequence, like even him digging the body out, like that was kind of badass. I guess that was 003 or
3, yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of badass. He just took the locket, threw away the family picture and the ship.
He probably took a piss on the picture first, just to make sure,
I like to tell myself that was just the picture that came with the locket.
Okay.
And the 003 is just as bad with relationships as 007.
Sure.
If not worse.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I just thought that was a weird, like, here's his family. Give me that shit.
I didn't even like consider the fact that there was a photo. I just assumed it's up to throw off anyone that would happen to get the locket.
Yeah,
I don't know. Do men wear lockets? I don't know if that's even a.
Yeah, that's another good point.
I forget. Was it heart shaped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would tell me, hey, that's probably something I should check out.
Yeah.
Usually with a guy, it's like a pocket watch.
Yeah.
Or, their wallet.
Right.
Those are the two go-to picture locations.
I like the little tangential like connection between the intro and then the rest of the movie with the microchip. It's just it's almost insignificant enough, but it tells you like, okay, this is what he's this is obviously what 003 died for, and then this is probably the reason everyone's kind of on the hunt and looking for these agents. So yeah, no, I totally agree with you on just this opening sequence of with Bond in the snow is always the best. So they bring back the James Bond action theme that I believe started on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Mm-hmm.
They updated it a little bit. They add some like guitar, a couple other like, they played it a little bit differently, but at the core it's that same theme, and it's a gorgeous piece of music.
What was the music that was playing? There was a weird piece of music.
In this,
yeah,
it's the California Girls.
Yes,
right?
That's it.
Yeah,
Yep.
which
Skateboard, snowboarding.
yeah, it's kind of fun. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me like having a ridiculous song as because he's essentially like kind of being shown surfing and I think it's a fun connection. But
I think it was bizarre to me because it was David Lee Roth.
see, I don't think it was his version. I think it was because he popularized or he like re-recorded, obviously that song which was Beach Boys, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think it was David Lee Roth in this movie. Maybe it is.
I'm gonna put down David Lee Roth. I wrote David Lee Roth when I was listening to it.
Yeah.
So
well, it's definitely like it sounds like his version, but I think.
And then the movie title sequence made me think it was even more so because it's Duran Duran, like they're trying to be hip with their music or something.
Yeah. That makes me wonder. I wonder when David Lee Roth.
Are we both typing?
Probably. Things on the podcast.
Yes.
David Lee Roth, California Girls.
I'm seeing. I just opened up like the home screen on my computer, and or the page, and it was of Alec Baldwin as Donald Trump with his shirt off.
Yikes!
I did not need that.
Yeah. Let's see. It looks like it was released in 1988, so like three years after this one.
Wow, that sounded just like David Lee Roth. Okay.
So now I look up California Girls. It is California Girls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. California Girls, View to a Kill.
Is this like one of those Mandela effects?
Yeah, probably. The Shazam movie and Berenstain Bears.
Yeah.
Whatever all those.
Well, it says his California Girls video was 1985.
Yeah.
In IMDb.
During the opening teaser, cover version of the 65 Beach Boys song California Girls performed by Gidea Park. A tribute band is used during the chase. Okay.
Weird.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it wasn't the Beach Boys. Like,
yeah. Why not use the Beach Boys?
Because David Lee Roth was asking too much money. And
that makes me wonder, did David Lee Roth get the idea from watching this?
Yeah, it came out the same year. The music video, anyway.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
It says IMDb 1985 California Girls, David Lee Roth.
Huh. I don't know.
Weird. All right, we fell into that rabbit hole.
We did.
But this is probably one of my favorite Bond themes. Like for the Duran Duran.
Yeah, it is great.
I just had a lot of fun. I didn't even realize this song was a Bond song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I've heard it before.
Sure, and it was a huge song. Like it was a #1 hit for
Oh yeah, it's Duran Duran. They're huge.
Yeah. No, it's a great opening credit sequence with a song, and they managed to use the the women's silhouette, the body painted fire dancer, a lot of ski.
Yeah, that was weird.
Ladies on skis and that kind of stuff, and it's a great opening scene and an opening credit sequence. I think it might be one of the stronger like pairs, for the entire franchise. So
shoot, even the getaway iceberg was awesome.
The bang boat. That was a weird scene, but
It
it's a
was.
lot of fun. Like I like the idea that there's this swanky sub that Bond and this other lady agent are on, and it's got this plush bed in the back. It part of it raises up to make a full bed.
It's literally the same kind of bed from Austin Powers,
Yeah,
where it's like
yeah,
I was waiting for it to start rotating.
yeah. It it's such a weird thing because it's like, what purpose does this sub have other than you know
Yeah,
to
I mean,
facilitate some banging?
and especially more so in a sub where space is very limited.
But they have room for champagne flutes, in the
Yeah,
overhead bin,
it's basically like Hugh Hefner's idea of an escape pod.
basically. Yeah, yeah.
It- uh,
It's
yeah,
it's so
so
cheesy,
Bond.
cheesy and Bond. Yeah, you're right.
It's,
It's a lot of
it's
fun.
Roger Moore.
Yes,
That's what it is.
yeah.
But again, it works.
It
It's fun.
works. Yeah.
I mean, it's weird that he's always got to be like near water or in water to get
I
that.
forgot about that like running theme.
Yeah, I mean, even at the end of this one, he's in the
Oh
shower.
shit, you're right.
It's like, does he have to be near water to keep the stank off him, or like,
Well,
how?
maybe he draws power from water.
He's like Aquaman
Kind of.
sexually.
Yeah, yeah. He gets his strength from the water.
He's a son of Poseidon.
I think so.
Oh,
I
jeez.
think we've figured that out.
But yeah, stays true.
Yeah.
I am kind of sad though that the powder blue has gone away.
Yeah, that was a big Connery thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. This Bond doesn't have. He wears a little like brown '70s brown, and even some of that's gone away. I don't know what his '80s Bond style is. A lot of like jackets,
yeah,
like not windbreakers, but
like members only jackets.
well, I don't know. Like I picture just like a gray zip up jacket, with nothing distinct about it. Um, over his like trousers, but there's not a lot of like him in tuxedos and that kind of stuff. I
Oh yeah,
just a lot of like undercover casual Bond with Roger Moore.
yeah,
That and when he is wearing a suit, it's all like wide ties and very '70s
yeah.
suits. So
So we've established we're big fans at the beginning of this movie.
yeah, yeah.
I think we've talked a lot about just the first like 10 minutes of this thing.
Hey, I'm happy with that. I'll jump to because my first point was pretty much the same as yours. So I'll jump to I dig Bond teaming up with Sir Godfrey Tibbett, who is an MI6 agent and is also a
Yeah.
racehorse trainer.
Well,
So that
makes sense.
convenience is nice, and yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense that MI6 would have a man on the ground, as it were, in the realm of horse racing. So everyone's got to have their specialty. So
Hey, James Bond was an expert with Fabergé eggs in one
yeah,
of these,
right,
so
yeah,
I'll take this.
yeah. I find it a little strange that Sir Godfrey ends up doing a lot of the spy legwork here early on. I guess it makes sense if he's in the racehorse world, so he kind of knows what to look for when he's investigating the stables and that kind of thing. But they're they've been invited or they're at this palatial estate of Max Zorin.
Yeah, that thing is insane.
Yeah, but like as far as Godfrey taking on the spy work part of this, it's especially strange because Moore is getting older, and we've talked about that in the past about how he's looking a little old now, and they don't put him in as many physical stunts and this and that, but now we're even following around a guy who I'm assuming is a little older than Bond.
Yeah,
So it's like they're not really replacing Bond with someone younger and more up to the task, but it's just kind of a little strange. But in that scene, I just thought they're just following this guy so they can set it up to kill him right away.
he hung around for.
Yeah, yeah. So it was odd to me, like rewatching this, like, oh yeah, he doesn't get killed on his first go at investigating these stables. Like I thought he'd get killed right away because I forgot about all them teaming up essentially later to investigate.
Yeah, I enjoyed him in this, like the banter between them when they're servants and Mr. Smythe.
James St. John Smythe, or was it
Smythe? Yeah, it is James St. John.
It's James St. John Smythe, which is really just St. John. But apparently, when you're upper crust, you pronounce it St. John. I enjoy that a lot.
Well, that explains the computer readout.
Yeah,
it said James St. John.
Yeah,
I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, I don't know where that comes from or why you just kind of run the two words together. I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, I love the Bond and Godfrey team up with Godfrey pretending to be his manservant. But I also love that they go as far as setting up like this pre-recorded skit that they play with a tape player as they're sweeping the room for bugs, which is another one of my favorite like Bond movie little.
Oh yeah. Although it's weird that they stopped at finding one bug.
Yeah, because I gotta assume that there's gonna be more, but apparently once you find one, you're good.
Yeah. Oh, it was weird because like they played off each other so well, but for some reason I felt like, oh God, I just blanked out his name, Sir whatever, Sir Godfrey was. I got the feeling that he was like above Bond.
Oh, really? That's why it was kind of, that's why I think Bond was giving it to him a little bit extra with like keep up. And what was his name? He didn't call him Tibbet, did he?
Oh,
what Godfrey's like code name was, but we'll call him Smithers. Like, know, so as Bond is like walking through this essentially a hotel, he's like, "Keep up, Smithers, and quit wheezing." Just giving it to him like
that's right.
So good.
I had written down here that one of my favorite scenes of the first act was the horse racing, like with I guess the obstacle course, for lack of a, but the equestrian race or whatever you want to call it. It was kind of fun because you knew that Zoran had put something in the horse with his magic stick of make the horse crazy juice.
Right.
And it was kind of fun to see him play out, and it was also weird at the same time because it was like every obstacle had somebody there, and he still had to signal them to do it. Like they weren't going to just do it as soon as he got over anyway.
Yeah, it seems like we had that pre-planned.
Yeah, but then I was like, oh, okay. He probably doesn't want to get his own guys stuck in it because then they just start beating the hell out of Bond while he's racing.
Well, but even some of those guys get, thrown off horses or whatever.
It was just a fun scene. Like they were just going all over the place.
Totally fun, yeah.
And then, but at the same time, every time I see equestrian racing, I always get bummed out because it makes me think of Christopher Reeve.
Oh no!
Because that's how he got paralyzed.
Too real.
Yeah. That's just always where my head goes to because I never watched this.
Sure.
And my only experience is that it destroyed Superman. So
yeah,
I always kind of get bummed out, but this one was kind of fun. And it had an awesome payoff when he sees the car. He thinks it's Smithers.
Yeah.
And he gets over there and he's like, oh, shit.
Sons of bitches. Yeah, kind of in that same area with my third point here. The scene with Bond and Zorn the morning after Bond has gotten to know Mayday.
Oh yeah,
Mayday a little bit better.
Did that seem awkward to you?
Totally awkward, especially with Zorn like, oh, go on, urging her to go ahead and go into the room.
And I'm assuming there's some kind of like, why does she have to be in a thong and everything I've seen?
Yeah, there's definitely some interesting outfits and looks she goes for. But yeah, that scene with the two of them like
training,
or I think it's like leading up to them banging because Max gets the word that what is it? They tip an alarm off when they're investigating the kind of underground area of the stables. So Max gets aware of that and goes to investigate. And then she looks really like frustrated and upset that their little wrestling session slash foreplay has been, interrupted. So I kind of like that, idea that she's just pissed off that something came between her and Max.
Yeah, I think it was like when they went down in the elevator lift thing, it had the wrong floor, like back up. Like it didn't have like the straw and everything. It was all cleaned off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was the tip, and then they went down, and that one guy got boxed up.
That was great.
That's so weird.
Yeah. So I like when when Bond and Zoran are in his office. Zoran's running the facial recognition software on Bond.
Yeah.
His reaction to each little bit of information that he gets on Bond is priceless. Like he's practically giddy.
He's like,
oh. I guess that's like license to kill. And he's like, oh.
Likely armed and extremely dangerous.
So
he's like getting oddly turned on by
right.
Like I think he just likes the challenge.
Totally.
I mean, I know he's. I'll hold off on that until the next. Act, I guess. But yeah, he's definitely impressed with Bond. And is ready to enjoy the sort of competition, I guess.
Yeah. Which takes us to the two of them at the horse track, which you already talked about. But then I like once Bond breaks free of the racetrack and he's off into the woods, I'm reminded of the hunting dog scene from Moonraker.
Yeah.
When he like sends him, sets his dogs loose on one of the women that I think Bond was working with. Because like there's a real sense of danger in this chase that I really appreciate. Which, like you said, ends with Bond catching up to Godfrey's car and finding out Godfrey's dead. And then Zoran has a great line when they catch back up to him where he says, if you're the best they have, they're more likely try to cover up your embarrassing incompetence. So it kind of goes, which is, especially awesome considering how many times we've talked about Bond being just this horrible spy who's always tipping his hat, always giving himself away.
Yeah.
Well,
even Mayday recognized him eventually. Which was kind of nice, though, that she actually did.
I do appreciate that. And at first it seems like, well, of course, that was like 2 days ago. She would have recognized him, But if you listen to like one of the briefings early on, they talk about in a month's time, they're going to hold this horse auction at this palatial estate. So they don't make a big deal about it, but essentially a month has gone by between, I think, the stuff in Paris and the stuff at the estate. So it'd be easy to like not realize why she doesn't recognize him when she, only a few minutes go by in the film as far as like when she sees him.
Yeah. Well, they must have had some time because they had to put together that skit.
Yeah.
But there was another small piece that I thought was oddly brought up at the racetrack where they first see him.
Yeah.
They're talking about him and how he knows 5 languages and a hint of accent.
Yeah.
Yet he never has, any other opportunity to use any of these languages.
Sure.
He, I guess, is doing his American East Coast accent because he just sounds like Christopher Walken the entire time. I just thought it was a weird thing to bring up.
Just the phrase or just the idea that Christopher Walken does not have an accent is ridiculous.
He's his own accent.
Yeah, he is the only owner of his accent.
Him and maybe Jay Moore, who does a really...
Well, anyone impersonating him, yeah.
And they oddly look similar. Like, he kind of looked like Jay Moore in this movie.
Yeah.
It may have been the blonde hair that was throwing me. But it was weird seeing him younger.
It totally is, yeah.
I'm used to old man walking.
Right.
That's what they need. They need to bring him back in another Bond movie. Awesome.
Might be a little hard to do, but
come on.
But I'm up for it.
He's not dead. He's good. He could be like that evil doctor guy in this one.
Oh, you mean the creepy Nazi crypt keeper?
Yeah. Or Zoran's test tube daddy.
Yeah, I think of him as his dad. They had a weird like father-son, like very familial, very like loving relationship almost.
And that was like a sequence I wasn't expecting, like him being like a super Nazi, basically.
There's a weird, like they talk about.
I meant to save this for the second act.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I mean, I'd probably jump into, but
yeah. They bring it up when the KGB shows up.
Yeah.
Because I guess they help, like, raise him in some sense or train him.
Okay, so I think
like he was an orphan or something. I piece that together. But
I think the way that works is, so the Nazi crypt keeper was after World War II. The KGB snatched up this Nazi doctor.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Because
he was doing like steroids and stuff.
Yeah. So I'm guessing Zoran is one of the kids that like he probably then took with him.
Yeah.
And so essentially both the Nazi doctor and Zoran were then brought up by the KGB, or working for / Zoran being raised, with them, I guess, or it's a really dark, tone for the Bond franchise to take, to bring up like the idea of Nazi experiments on like women in World War II concentration camps. Like but as far as like villains go, it makes a pretty incredible origin.
And it's kind of weird because you would think Nazis wouldn't want their experiments to have Jewish moms.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Yeah, but
because I may be mistaken, but I think that's what like if your mother's Jewish, it's I think if your mother's Jewish, then you're Jewish. But if your father's, there's like a weird thing with like depending on who's Jewish, parents, it's determines something. I don't know. I have to look into it more, but I think it's important for this that his mother would be Jewish.
Yeah.
Be weird.
I mean, there's obviously well documented situations where Nazis were performing all kinds of experiments on
and I guess that's what it is.
They want to experiment with this group, with the Jewish prisoners and all these people. And then that way, once they perfected that, then they'll apply those experiments and that science on their own people, because obviously it's no secret they wanted to create a master race that they thought the German people were.
Yeah, it didn't work out so well in the Olympics.
Yeah. So crazy, like dark, real world stuff that's being brought up with all this stuff. So, but I appreciate that they do. They don't make fun of it. They don't, it's treated, I think, really well. But like I said, great backstory for a villain.
Yeah. So is he supposed to be in his 40s then? Or close to it?
This would be 1985. Oh shit! Yeah, I think he'd be
like 39, 40.
Yeah, very.
Okay, see that.
And there's nothing to say that he was born, during World War II. He could have been, the Nazi doctor's science. He could have taken that science and then basically created Zoran in the 50s. I think they even talk about like his age. Yeah, because when James shows up in San Francisco and he's talking to the dock worker, the Wuhan from Temple of Doom, his little CIA or FBI contact. They talk about his age and how the math basically adds up, and he would have been about the right age for being one of those genetic experiments and all that stuff. And
Walken was born in 1943, so
yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. It all adds up. Walken is a Nazi science experiment.
It's so weird. But when that's kind of revealed, Mayday then lifts a human being over her head. So that made me think she was also.
I kind of think she had a little something extra in her as well.
I know she's described as being American, but
yeah,
she seemed otherworldly strong.
Yeah. Kind of brings me because we're in that scene where she lifts that dude. Do you notice who's in the background?
No.
Oh, come on, buddy! You got to pay more attention.
I was too busy watching a woman lift a grown man over her head.
Okay, so in that scene, she throws the guy down, and the henchman to General Gogol, who like rushes to the aid of the guy that she tosses to the ground. He pulls out his gun, and that's Dolph Lundgren.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and the entire scene leading up to that, where it's just General Gogol and Zoran, like, talking back and forth. Every time you're looking at General Gogol, yeah, it's Dolph Lundgren right to the left side of the screen. That's Dolph Lundgren, and it's weird because he's like distracting in the scene. Because normally when you have your henchmen and they're standing by while your main villains or main characters are having a discussion, like usually the henchmen are like they're occupying themselves with standing guard, keeping an eye on the perimeter, like that kind of stuff while the grown-ups are talking. This guy just he is so focused on the conversation that Gogol and Zoran have, like he's just staring at them the entire time, that it totally distracts me. Aside from the fact that it is Dolph Lundgren, but he was Grace Jones's boyfriend at the time, so that's kind of why he would have been around. I'm guessing, behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. So I'm sure they got to look at him and we're like, let's use this guy.
He should have been a Bond villain.
And it got me thinking, like, if you know a little bit about Dolph Lundgren, like he is a super smart dude.
Yeah.
He has a PhD, I think, in
chemistry or something.
Chemistry or biology or some kind of master's or some PhD level.
His character talks about it in the Expendables series.
Okay, does he?
And everyone thought it was just a joke.
Sure.
Until somebody said, no, that's legitimate.
Yeah. So if you think about that, like, Dolph Lundgren probably could have made a good Max Zorin. Like, looking at this perfect Aryan specimen of a, like I said, this perfect, figure who's huge, he's intelligent. Like, he probably could have made a good, villain in this movie, but probably his acting chops aren't the best at this point. And
he got his chance in Rocky IV as Zorin Part 2.
Basically, yeah.
So, we sort of glossed over one of my favorite little things. It's the beginning of Act 2 where he's been tossed into the lake of the car with left for dead, and he comes out and then he sees the tire and uses the air pressure in the tire to then breathe underwater.
Yeah.
And it is kind of possible.
Kind of, yeah.
It's hard to do because I think they did it on Mythbusters, I want to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he makes it look easy, but it's still kind of a cool little thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, I just enjoyed that he. Of course, it's Bond, and he's got the wherewithal to know. Oh, there's a tire in the air. Yeah. Of course, he's not panicking because he's trapped in a car floating around with a corpse, but or Sir Corpse.
Yes. Yes. Use the honorific.
Yeah, but I liked Zorin in a sense that he wasn't playing with his food. He just kept trying to make Bond's death look like an accident.
Okay, yeah, that's a great point. Yeah.
He went straight to taking care of business. He didn't monologue. He didn't do a whole lot of that.
Yeah.
He just was like, okay, we got him. Let's make this look, because he's trying to still keep his cover because he's got a bigger plan in the works.
Yeah, you're right. No doubt, if they would have killed him with the horse race thing, they would have made it look like some sort of horse riding accident where he falls off and breaks his neck or something of that nature. Yeah. obviously, I guess they caught him and put him in the car, and yeah. Either way, yeah, you're right. Making it look like an accident is really nice, yeah. And that'll come back up later on in the movie.
Yep.
Um, yeah, no, you're.
It's in this act.
Yeah, in Act 2. Yeah.
Yeah. Bond almost dies twice in Act 2.
Yeah. No, real quick, back to the air in the tire thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, Mythbusters tested it, and I thought that they made it plausible, but apparently it was busted. Like you can't depress the valve stem of a tire and man, you can't like press it and at the same time get your mouth around it to get any of that air. And I think they even tried stabbing the sidewall of the tire, but then you're getting air, but then there's too much air and water mixture that would be forced into your mouth to even get a breath. So
you'd have to have like a special mouthpiece designed
exactly, yeah, that would attach to a tire.
Which does bring up the weirdness of no gadgets.
He uses like the glasses with the X-ray specs to see into
that's right.
a meeting that Zoran has, and like a credit card thing from Sharper Image, to like open a window. But that's basically it.
Oh, and that check scanner.
Yeah.
But did Q ever present them?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
okay.
There's essentially no gadgets in this movie, so
there's just that weird, not at all secretive spiral.
Save it. Oh, yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I guess there's no car either.
Oh, yeah.
Weird.
Like the Rolls Royce that Godfrey and him are rolling up in, but yeah, there's no.
Oh, I take it back. There is.
Oh shit! We didn't even talk about any of the stuff in Paris. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah, we should retroactively talk about Paris real quick in Act 1.
Yep. I did not realize that was this movie.
Okay.
Because I saw it in the Green Hornet.
Yeah.
Where the car is basically chopped in half and still functions, which is another Mythbuster thing they did.
It works. Yeah,
it does. As long as it's front wheel drive.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah.
I like the scene from start to finish when he steals the taxi and like drives it down the stairs backwards, and
he like does a stair grind, like slides, like it's so crazy, and then he loses the top of it,
right?
And then he loses the back,
but he jumps like a bus.
Yeah.
I go with it. I really, really enjoyed the driving sequence there.
Yeah.
And then ultimately it's T-boned and the car just splits in half.
Perfectly in half.
Oh man, it's so great.
One of those breakaway cars.
Yeah, one of those. But yeah, we didn't even talk about like Grace Jones, the butterfly assassination thing, and jumping off the Eiffel Tower. Like,
well, Bond implies that was Zoran later when he asked him if he likes fly fishing.
Yeah. He knows that it's.
I thought that was nice.
Her, I think. Obviously working for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of those moments where he tips his hat with the fly fishing comment.
Yeah. But yeah, it was it does lead to the one screen capture shot I had of this movie. It showed him like holding onto the rail and shooting up.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, of course, old man Bond's holding onto a rail as he shoots.
Well, and it's so like, it's so sad to see him like he's struggling with this fly casting reel. Like he's really having a hard time with getting tangled up in that and the stair. Yeah.
Yeah, it is just painful to watch him run anytime.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. But to be fair, I mean, he's been through a lot. It's not a young man's game.
Oh. All right, so we want to jump back into Act 2.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the blimp boardroom.
Yes. magnificent.
So fantastic.
And I didn't see it coming at all.
Sure. Oh, yeah, that's even better.
Like the reveal of it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, shit.
Yeah. It's done perfectly where they escort the guy out of the room and then, yeah, the stairs turn into
A slide.
a slide. Oh, so good. But what I like about just like the boardroom scene is it combines the miniature displays that serve only one purpose with the showmanship of Christopher Walken.
Oh, yeah. He sells the shit out of this place.
So good. Yeah, they plan to dominate Silicon Valley and create a monopoly with all these businesses that essentially Max has through what's the term that he uses? Industrial espionage. I think he uses that to have made all these guys around the table successful.
Yep.
And now he wants them to all buy in. It's a lot like Goldfinger, where he brings like a bunch of gangsters around. He shows them a display. He wants them all to chip in, like in this case, it's 100 million and then half of their earnings, I think, later on. So we want them all to buy into this plan, which we don't have any idea what the plan itself is of how he intends to create a monopoly, but then or a cartel, I guess he wants to become.
He's destroying Silicon Valley because it's 80-something% of the market.
Yeah,
and that way their consortium or whatever you want to say it will take in that 80-something% and own 100% of the market. Like I feel like it's just Silicon Valley and then the guys in that group. That's the entire market place for microchips or something.
Yeah, which I did a little bit of digging because like the problem is Silicon Valley doesn't produce as many microchips as they kind of lead you to believe here. They buy a hell of a lot of them, but most of the production of microchips in the late 70s has been moved to places like Philippines, Malaysia, Korea, and then like the surrounding area of outside Silicon Valley. I think like at the time in 1984, 85, Silicon Valley is kind of a buzzword. And I think when you use that with a word like microchip, you don't give it a second thought. It makes sense. It's totally believable. It works definitely for the movie, but like just if you scratch the surface a little bit, it's not really like going to produce the monopoly like they present here. So
I assume by production they mean like the actual fine tuning and innovation that goes on there.
That does happen in Silicon Valley. They are like creating them, but not producing them.
Because I imagine what's coming out of the Philippines and South Korea are like the base chip, but then Silicon Valley adds in all the finer details. Or,
that could be, yeah. That could be.
I don't know. I just don't see unless there's some really sophisticated facilities out there. I don't know. That just may be my bias, but it doesn't. I could see Korea, but Philippines doesn't strike me as a tech.
I think it's like a mass produce. I think it's just where they can be mass produced in a factory, like to the same specs that they've created.
Gotcha. Okay.
And all of this is not a problem. Like I still go with it. As far as Bond movies go, it's kind of a simple plan. I appreciate it essentially is the Goldfinger. Like we're gonna buy up all the gold, we're gonna destroy the Fort Knox gold, and then essentially my gold is gonna be worth more. So that's kind of what they're doing here, and it totally works.
So I'm wondering if his long-term plan is to produce microchips without the protection from EMPs. And then once all his microchips are in,
produce a flaw in them, you mean?
Well, I guess it's an inherent flaw, like that they talk about at the beginning.
Yeah.
And only his computer systems would have the protected chip. Okay. Everyone else's would have the vulnerable chip. And then he could set off an EMP and be a little more world dominating than this.
They really don't go into like any grander schemes aside from just business. Like they don't go into the idea of
because they talk about it at the beginning, like that whole thing. They got to stop this guy, or
they want his chips because they are impervious, essentially, to an EMP blast.
Because he's supposed to be a good guy, like that is doing this work to protect their government systems and toasters.
They essentially they find out that Russia has turned up with some of these chips, so they find out that Russia's buying some of them, which, I mean, is that illegal?
I guess it is in a corporate sense if there's like an agreement, like with England or whoever.
Right.
But yeah,
a little muddy on the global scale as far as what laws are being broken, as far as who's buying the chips and kind of what Russia's involvement in this. I get a little muddy, but
I think their involvement's just straight up getting that protected chip. It's the Cold War, and they want what everyone else has, and they're trying to even the playing field. And right now, they're at a disadvantage without those, I guess. So yeah, I was so stoked when I saw him fall out of that blimp.
Yeah,
I was like, "Holy shit, it's a blimp!"
And not even it's like the first of
oh yeah,
two blimps that we'll see in the movie.
It comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just great. It was like I was expecting him to like push a button and then he was just gonna fall into a fire pit like Austin Powers.
Right.
But I mean I knew he was in trouble as soon as Mayday went with him, but
yeah. Let's see. I think my last bit from Act 2 here is just kind of
the fire truck and the city hall.
Yeah.
There's so much in this movie.
I know.
It's like we didn't even touch on I think it was Jenny Flex that was in the hot tub with him.
No, Jenny Flex is Mayday's like almost right hand. Like
that's what I thought.
Jenny Flex is one of Zoran's people. The lady in the hot tub is Paula Ivanova, which is like a Russian.
That's right.
She's a Russian agent, which apparently in the script or in the development of the movie, they wanted it to be the Russian agent Triple X from Spy Who Loved Me.
Yeah.
So they wanted it to be her, but I don't know why that fell apart. But so it's essentially it's a Russian agent that Bond has some history with because they recognize each other instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember how he knew her, and I thought it was, but no, that makes more sense then. Okay.
And I almost thought, it's the same lady from the Bang sub at the beginning of the movie, but she's British, so it's not the same person.
Yeah.
And that's kind of actually leads me into my point here is that the movie itself does suffer from being a little too long in some places. Okay. It's jam packed, like we've talked about, and so this Paula Ivanova character that Bond meets after they're both trying to infiltrate one of Zoran's like drilling stations, and Bond gets into a sticky situation, has to throw his air tank into the fan blades of this tube that he's in, and essentially gets the other group, which is Paula Ivanova, and the guy with her is the one that calls Zoran a freak, and the one that Mayday lifts above her head earlier at the racetrack. So you've got like this sabotage scene that Bond kind of interrupts and essentially causes the death of this guy. Because they wouldn't have known that these two groups were there if Bond hadn't. I mean, obviously, he had to save himself, but gets a man killed essentially in the process. But so I think this scene for me would work a little bit better rather than introducing this Paula character, because we've already been introduced to Stacey Sutton. She came to visit Max at the racetrack. Why not make this her?
That's what I thought it was at first.
And I did too, because they keep her, basically covered. She's in a wetsuit and in a mask kind of thing for a while, and then why not merge the two and make it a little bit? I mean, they would have had to do some clever writing to figure out why not even really, because she's
got a motive.
She has a motive, and she
Yeah.
could easily be teaming up with the Russians, which wouldn't be good to show an American woman teaming up with Russia to take down Zoran. Like that wouldn't be good. But yeah, I think they could have found some reason to merge the two characters, because she's going to be, this Paula is gone. Yeah, they get in the hot tub. They have a little like switcheroo with the tape the recording that she has of Zoran, and then she gets in the car with Gogol and they drive off or whatever. So we don't see her again. So
that's weird.
It's kind of I think they could have done a little bit of work there to simplify it a little bit. So again, like it doesn't in the movie for me at all. Like I'm still going with it, but it's kind of like you're just introduced to a character that you think we're gonna then be with for the majority of the rest of the movie, and then she's gone. So
yeah,
and then we still have to meet the actual Bond girl of the movie. So
yeah, it's weird. Like,
yeah,
it's almost like they had to do that scene because there was like zero chemistry between Bond and the Stacey Sutton.
could be.
Because I did not feel like they gave a crap about each other.
It's a weird like introduction scene because he comes to her place and they do the whole Bond trope that's really overplayed, where he is going to approach her while she's in the shower. Like
yeah,
the very invasive, like it's as if it's okay for Bond to just happen in on any naked woman taking a shower. I do like that they kind of spin it a little bit where she's aware that he's there, and she comes out of a closet with a shotgun pointed at him. So
yeah,
they obviously they make
start off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that and he even like leaves her hanging in the what you call the elevator shaft. Like she's convinced that he's gonna leave her.
Totally. Yeah.
I'm like, how much of a dick does this guy have to come off as for her to think that?
Yeah, but like earlier they were, he like tucks her into bed, that night after she's been through a home invasion that isn't Bond. The other home invaders come right after him, like
it's conveniently timed home invaders.
Yeah. So her like entire involvement in the movie is she is the heiress to an oil company that Thorin wants because he wants her oil platforms, maybe
yeah, it's
something
part
like
of his
that.
plan.
And then she is also a geologist who, because Zoran has kind of forced her out of business a little bit, she has been forced to work for the city, for the state, or for the city,
I think,
as like a geology.
And she's got her Apple seismograph.
Oh yeah. She keeps tabs on any seismic activity. I don't mind her in the movie. Like she does have the exposition as far as explaining to Bond what the geology stuff means and what the Zoran's drilling activities are. So all of that stuff comes from her, and she does okay. I don't have a problem with her in the movie.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed geologist, seismologist, whatever in a movie since the next one will be Tremors.
Oh yeah. You will have long blonde hair. You will have legs that go all the way up.
Kevin Bacon.
Oh, so good.
You can do no wrong.
Yep.
Oh, true. So yeah, towards the end of the sequence, we got the fire truck thing, but before that, even before the elevator shaft, was Zoran's grand plan, and he makes the mayor or whoever that is at the office at City Hall call the police, and then he basically tells them, well, they killed you.
Yeah.
And he's like, wait, but then that means I die.
This plan only works if I'm dead. Bingo.
And then eventually he does the same thing where he's trying to, I guess, make it look like they got trapped in their own fire that they set.
You called it earlier. Like every time he wants to kill Bond, it's he wants it to look like an accident, which totally makes sense.
At that point, why? Like,
Um,
could he say that they shot each other, or?
well, it may not be as much making it look like an accident as covering up,
Yeah, I could
that
see
he wasn't there, essentially. Like, he wants it to look like she killed her boss because she was
that.
fired earlier that day, and then she killed this reporter who Bond is posing as. So I guess that makes enough sense.
Yeah. So I just gotta say that the fire truck sequence was pretty impressive being in San Francisco.
Yeah,
It was very cool to look at with all the hills.
sure.
And I know those streets aren't the widest of streets. Of streets. The only thing that was missing was that one crazy ass street in San Francisco where it's like a
Yeah,
slalom.
yeah. Man, that would have been a
That would
nightmare.
have been awesome to just have them cut through it like a
Yeah,
straight line.
just go over it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah, I've definitely seen the fire truck chase kind of thing before, and I feel like I saw it recently in something.
I saw it in Con Air.
Okay, I'm thinking
Uh,
of like I know I've seen it in Terminator 3,
yeah.
which is obviously they're coming way after this, so they're probably homaging this movie. But I feel like I saw it very recently in a completely other movie, maybe a TV
Hmm.
show. I think of what it was, but it's this. I think this would be the first example. Maybe there's older movies with fire truck chases where the ladder's going like side to side, and Bond or the hero has to you know duck or lift his legs when they're going over cars and that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. There's a lot of fun stuff with the way they use the fire truck. So
All that and the fire truck jump on the bridge
oh yeah,
and the cop car that gets stuck at the top.
yeah,
That was just so cool looking.
yeah. And again, it's like they jam a lot of stuff in here, and we kind of get a bumbling cop, almost like J.W. Pepper
Kind of. He's more
from
of an a-hole cop though.
yeah.
Because like when his car gets wrecked, the others like laugh and
Right, yeah.
mock him.
There's so much in this movie. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have any more notes for Act Two, but there's definitely more stuff we could talk about. But I don't know where you're at with
No, I mean after that they roll up on his installation for the mine shaft, and
taking us right into three.
so we're heading off to James Bond and the Temple of Doom.
And holy shit, this mine is littered with explosives.
Well, every truck has like friggin' piles of ammo.
I know. I think they kind of show this little hole that they're lowering stuff into, and I think they just kind of light it with a flashlight. And it's just like jam packed with all these like bags of explosive material. I don't know what those are, but
Yeah, ANFO is like demolition, like
okay,
black powder. It's like it's like the stuff they use on MythBusters to blow up like the cement truck.
okay,
It's like like a bag of that can destroy like a good chunk of land.
gotcha.
So that many bags, and who knows how deep.
That's kind of why I was taken aback, like seeing it all packed in there because I don't know how deep this thing goes. I mean,
Well, he's trying to set the faults to go off at the same time. So
it's pulled like a Lex Luthor type move
yeah,
where he wants to essentially like where Lex Luthor wanted to set off a nuke at a fault line to sink California and make what Nevada and Arizona maybe like make that the coastline.
yeah.
Where Zoran here wants to set off these like a nuclear warhead plus all this explosive material in deep under Silicon Valley to flood it. So
Yeah.
and that's how he'll take out the competition as far as the other people who are working with the microchips. So
And that got me kind of confused by the first explosion.
yeah,
Like I thought that, like I didn't know what that one was for, other than I guess to kill everybody.
yeah. The first explosion goes off and it drains the lake
Yeah.
that they're digging under,
Yeah.
and they want the water, the seawater. They're pumping in seawater to the fault line, and that's gonna
like soften something?
I don't know why seawater
I didn't
was
quite
such
get
a
I don't know if it was supposed to erode something by pumping seawater into it, or
yeah
if you're a geologist, let us know.
yeah right in.
And I was
Or maybe
so
it looked like an accident.
yes,
Might be what it
to
is.
get
He
rid of
wants,
everyone.
yeah, get rid of everybody, and at the same time, somehow this pumping station, I think, is going to flood the fault line with seawater, which again we're not really clear on why that's a
Maybe it's like
factor.
cold and hot forces meeting each
Maybe
other
I
and
don't know.
causing fracture.
Yeah.
That's what
Essentially,
it
he's going to set off a bigger explosion,
yeah.
and yeah, just completely
At
sink.
first, I thought he was just doing it. I was like, holy shit. But so none of that water got into the explosion cavern. It's well designed.
Yeah,
I'm impressed. We get Mayday getting a change of heart.
yeah, she kind of has a reversal because Zoran just basically leaves her for dead. She, he he doesn't care that she's going to be flooded out with the rest of everybody. So yeah, she
Yeah, he
gets.
only keeps his shooting buddy and the
Yeah,
doctor.
I was really surprised that he keeps around. It's Scarpine is his like right hand man, who's been like a foil for Bond, especially at the racetrack. And then he's got his Nazi doctor father.
So, and then, of course, we have return of the layer, the that's hidden in a
Yeah,
trailer.
kind of a miniature version of the blimp,
Yeah,
which is awesome. Yeah, I think it's this tiny little compartment that unfolds out of a like trailer.
yeah.
And
It's
then
his weekend cruising blimp.
yeah, that's awesome. This pleasure blimp.
Yeah,
He's got his meeting blimp. He's got his pleasure blimp.
there you go.
I see nothing wrong with this.
And the whole time, I just kept waiting for my chance to say, "Oh, the humanity,"
Uh, sure,
and it came.
nice.
But
Honest, like we're kind of at the last 10 minutes or so of the movie. Like I don't have a lot of notes because I'm in the movie now, so I can essentially like recap what happens, but I don't have any like in depth like
yeah,
analysis of what's going on because it
I mean,
just sucks me in. So
it's kind of the point where you see the relationship between the doctor and
yeah,
Zoran, because Zoran uh,
very
back.
lovingly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's out there on the bridge after taking. When he takes off, he magically scoops up what's her face, Facey,
Yeah.
after he sees Mayday blow it up outside. Which I'm guessing it's not a nuke gun.
Yeah, I guess it's not a nuke. It's a well,
So
yeah,
you wouldn't need. I mean, I guess it's just a bomb.
yeah.
I don't know. But he randomly goes and scoops her up for no apparent reason. I guess to keep talking.
Yeah, he knows who she is. He knows
Yeah.
that she didn't die in the fire. So yeah, he
And
needs to.
then we finally get the scene of the cover with the bridge, Golden Gate Bridge.
Which
Earlier he calls a view to a kill.
uh,
Would you look at that view? And then he goes, to a kill. God, that's awful. I'm like, why
yeah,
would anybody say that?
it's not a phrase anyone would ever use. Yeah, I feel like I feel like that comes from somewhere. I think they were referencing.
I was wondering if he was foreshadowing his own death.
Yeah,
We're viewing where I'm going to be killed. Because when he does fall from the bridge with the kind of weird fight sequence out on the bridge, you see the doctor lose his mind and go back to his Nazi rage, and
yeah,
he even goes as far as trying to light a comical Acme stick of dynamite, like the kind that has like 6 sticks in it. Yeah. And then, of course, he holds onto it for way too long, and then Bond miraculously can shoot it holding more line or whatever that's wrapped around the bridge, and then he falls back with it, and then they comically fumble around with it, and
Yep.
kablooey.
Yep.
And it was kind of like a lackluster kind of way to end.
A little bit, yeah. I heard that. So the actual stunt performers, the fighting stunt guys who were actually on the Golden Gate Bridge, they were limited because of insurance, like how much fighting they could do, because they'd have to keep, like one hand on the guideline and this and that, and they were very limited on how much movement they could really do. So yeah, it's kind of a weak fight between the two, and I like the blimp being tied off, and I like all that stuff. So
I did like Christopher Walken at the very end. He's grappling, and he sort of laughs.
Yeah, it's
so
great.
Because
he's insane.
Yeah.
I like that he's fighting with the world's tiniest fire axe.
Yeah.
So the original title, From a View to a Kill, was taken from a version of the words to a traditional hunting song. I don't know. Do you ken John Peel? Maybe it's like an Irish, I don't know. From a find to a check, from a check to a view, from a view to a kill in the morning. So a find, okay, here we go. So it's a fox hunting song. So a find is discovering a fox's trail. A check is losing the trail again when the hounds lose the scent. A view is visually spotting the fox, and a kill is self-explanatory. So let's see. So the truncated title basically means having the prey in your sights before killing it. So a view to a kill. Okay, so you're spotting the target and you're about to kill it. So
all right. So I guess the Golden Gate Bridge, which I don't believe is close to Silicon Valley. Oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Close enough.
Sure, we'll go with it.
So yeah, we have. You want to finish this off with the Revenge of the Nerds robot making its entrance?
So creepy Q is parked outside Stacy's house in an RV, and he's going through the house with his little RC controlled spy perv bot. And yeah.
How did it get up the stairs?
Oh, well, we're not going to talk about that, Patrick, because we don't need to see that it has jetpacks that pop out the sides like R2-D2 in Attack of the Clones. It makes it up the stairs just fine.
It's got a grappling hook, like
that could work too.
BB-8 or whatever.
Yeah. So the little spy drone creeps into the bathroom, and it kind of cuts back to Q, and he has this, like, he knows what he's going to find. Like,
oh yeah.
Sometimes I go along with, like, oh, let's check in to see how Bond is doing, and they turn on the camera and they happen to see him, with a woman and all that stuff. And this, it's like, you know what you're going to find, old man. And
he's ready for it.
luckily, Bond spots the little camera, throws the towel over the droid, and that's
credits.
Yeah, that is a view to a kill.
I guess.
I think that might be the last time we'll ever really have to talk about Roger Moore. I don't think he ever pops up in any other movies that are on our list. So
nah. Yeah, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
All right. Yeesh. All right. So, you want to take a guess at Rotten Tomatoes?
I would love to. Are we? I know they do two separate scores, right? They do.
Yeah, the fan and then the critic.
Okay, fan and critic. Do you want to do both?
Yeah, we can do both.
Okay. So I'm gonna say the fan, and it's percentage out of 100, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna say the fans put it at 60%.
Okay, I was gonna put it higher at like 75.
Okay.
And then critic, What do you think?
I'm going to go 45.
Oh, wow, you're going low.
I think this movie is well regarded.
I'm going to go not too far off at 68.
Okay.
Okay, so due to a kill, what is the survey?
Play along at home and think about your answers.
We are way off.
Okay.
Holy shit. The fans are at, or the audience, I should say, is at 40%.
Wow. So what did I say? 60?
Yeah.
You were at 75?
75.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the tomato meter for critics is 36%.
Man.
I was thinking like people knew this was his last movie, so
okay, yeah,
it was gonna get and it wasn't. I didn't think it was that bad. Like, granted, it has its flaws, but
yeah,
I had a lot of fun watching this.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I mean, we can we still have to do like heroic and villainous and stuff like that, so we can save our ratings till that. But yeah, no, I figured it'd be kind of low because I know this movie has a reputation for not being well regarded or not being like thought of as one of the better ones. So
yeah, this is like a freaking Sandler movie.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So what didn't hold up that caused these kind of scores?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. I thought it was well made.
I definitely have heard a lot of that it's a long movie.
It's all Bond movies, though.
Yeah. I mean, I think they were probably just tied to that 2-hour plus timeline that they wanted to stick to. But they could have definitely cut out, like we said, a lot of the horse stuff. Like it's great. A lot of it's a lot of fun, but it doesn't really matter.
Well, even the Russian KGB guy says, this is just causing us.
Yeah, you're right.
That's essentially what that whole thing was. It was just a way to get in.
Yeah.
And because they were trying to figure out how to track Zorin, and this was their way in.
Yeah. And this movie almost could have made sense as a Moonraker style, where they're experimenting with the steroids and how to inject them and turning that into like creating a master race like Hugo Drax was in Moonraker. Like they could have gone that way with it too, but no, I don't know why the movie is so panned as far as go.
I mean, the stunts were amazing in this.
Yeah,
so I can't knock any of that.
I think maybe it's Roger Moore looks pretty old here. Like he was kind of looking for a way out from the last movie. Like they thought about. I think they thought about bringing in Sam Neill from Jurassic Park.
Oh, wow.
Timothy Dalton, I think, was considered already for this.
Sure.
A couple other people, I'm sure. Maybe Pierce Brosnan, but he might have been too young for this.
No, I think that's it's getting close at least, because Remington Steele's going on about mid-80s, late 80s.
Yeah, so I think it could be that. Maybe it's just like, hey, let's let this guy go on and we'll recast. But so maybe Roger Moore stuck around one too many or two too many. I don't know, but
I didn't think he was bad.
Well, yeah, but it definitely cuts down. Like there's no fight scenes in the movie really.
Yeah,
there's no. I mean, some with like the dude that he strapped into the box on the like conveyor belt thing.
It's weird. Mayday didn't have a big fight with him. I mean, her big thing was fighting with Zorin and lifting that guy.
Yeah. And then she was obviously useful in the mine, but
yeah.
Huh. No, I mean, obviously we're kind of giving away some of our thoughts and leading towards ratings that we definitely had a different time with this than the critics and audience, but let's jump into most heroic and most villainous.
I believe there's a hero in all of us.
I just finally know what I have to do.
that keeps us honest,
I'm here to fight for truth and justice in the American way.
gives us strength,
You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards.
makes us noble.
And I know in my heart that it's right.
What do you think about Most Heroic?
Jeez. I guess, golly. Like, Bond doesn't do much as far as...
Yeah.
I guess the whole pulling her out of the the elevator shaft with the fire hose, but he does it in a kind of an a-hole kind of way by leaving her.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But
guess...
he's not leaving her. He is, like, trying to find a way to save her.
And even his intro, he's busy desecrating a man's family's photo.
Yeah.
Before grandly escaping. It's weird. Like, he doesn't... I don't know.
I went with... I really enjoy showing, like, Bond showing up and taking out Zoran's men with the rock salt shotgun.
Yeah.
You know.
It's weird. The most heroic thing is Mayday.
Yeah, but I don't want to give it to her. Like,
I know.
That's why I didn't want to give it to her.
It's weird. Like, she does literally save the day.
She does, yeah.
And sacrifices herself. So I'd have to call her the hero of this movie.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's weird to say.
Yeah.
But not unheard of with Bond.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I think we might have even given it to Jaws back in Moonraker, maybe.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
So I think it's okay to, you know, let one of the henchmen kind of take that. So yeah.
Because I originally had the elevator sequence,
and that is pretty good because he does risk, you know, he has to risk his life to save her. So honestly, that is probably the most heroic stuff we get with Bond, regardless of the fact that she thinks he's leaving her.
Yeah.
You know,
he doesn't even say "I'll be right back." He says "Stay put."
Yeah.
He's like, "Stay right there. I want to watch you die."
Right.
Like, it's weird.
You were made to be ruled.
Gods are selfish beings who fly around in little red capes and don't share their power with mankind.
In the end, you will always kneel.
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
Well, I think Villainous should be easy.
I had a very easy time with Villainous.
I'm curious. What is yours?
Mine is Zoran mowing down his own men gleefully with a machine gun as they're drowning.
I figured. And as a result, I went with Mayday and the guy that left the meeting.
Oh, the
doing the ramp out the blimp.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So she is both the savior and the villain of this movie. Because that was pretty cold-blooded.
A real fall from grace, Jones.
Oh, jeez. Oh, man.
You're welcome, listeners.
Not all views are representative of the real comic heroes.
At that Travis Bow on Twitter if you want to give me shit for that one.
Wow.
I'll gladly fight you to death for that one.
Wow.
All right. Well, overall thoughts and rating?
Overall, I would watch it again. It had a lot of, it was a popcorn movie. It was a lot of fun. It was fun to watch. Like, a lot of things going on. Action sequences were pretty awesome. I enjoyed the little banter with everyone, but as you said, it's not exactly action as far as fight sequences. The longest fight sequence is, I think both are in Act 1, really, is the dojo scene and then the underground boxing production place.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's not until you get to the Golden Gate Bridge, really. I can't think of any other fight sequences.
Yeah. The fights have been trailing off as Roger Moore has gotten older. So
the other thing is, like, we didn't get a really good henchman, like a traditional henchman.
Sure.
I guess she does get her moment when she kills Sir what's his face,
Sir Godfrey. Yeah, yeah, in the car wash. That was kind of a cool sequence.
And then aside from that, I mean, the other like her like Jenny Flex, you don't get much out of. She changes the oil in the car while Mayday's killing the guy in the car wash. Man, and even the Bond girl. I was like, oh yeah, she's the Bond girl. And
yeah.
It's almost over. Like, it didn't feel like she was a Bond girl.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. She was just sort of like there. I guess she was there for like explaining what his plan was, and that was pretty much it. Like from a geological standpoint.
Right.
And then, yeah, I was kind of underwhelmed by the Bond girl and the henchman, because usually the henchmen make the movie.
Oh,
for a lot of these, and this one was just a weird set. Like, I don't know, it felt weird. She was badass, but she didn't get to be badass as much as
she looks more. It's more about her bark than her bite, I guess. She looks more intimidating, and she looks more impressive.
But she can lift a grown man over her head.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I kept waiting for her to do something superhuman like that again.
And Zoran kind of should have been a little more physically impressive. You know, I think back to.
Well, I think he is, because he takes her in that fight.
Sure.
Unless she lets him, so they can get busy.
Well, yeah.
Because even she dominates Bond in bed.
Yeah.
She gets on top of him and pins him down. It's just a weird. I don't know. It didn't feel like a traditional Bond villain / henchman kind of thing. I don't know. I kept expecting more from Mayday.
Okay.
I think it's because they never really fight.
Yeah. You were really missing the fighting in this one.
Well, it's just a huge part. Like,
sure.
Especially towards the last act. It's always like an epic showdown between the henchman and Bond. And I guess they kind of got that a little bit while they were trying to escape for their lives from the drowning mine shaft thing, but it was, I don't know, it was weird. Yeah.
Well, so what's your rating?
I'm honestly going with a 4.
Okay.
I enjoyed watching this with its flaws and everything. I mean, I could watch this again. And it may be because I know it's his last movie, and sort of this is his farewell to Bond. But the action sequences were just amazing. I just thoroughly enjoyed watching every bit of that. And there's a lot of them.
Yeah. The movie is jam-packed.
I mean, the story itself, it's all right. I mean, they're trying to be tech-oriented.
It's kind of like an 80s modern update of Goldfinger.
Yeah.
Like, in a few different ways, yeah. And a little bit Moonraker-ish, so.
Yeah, I like the idea behind the plot. I like it better than the whole drug one that we had.
Yeah.
With, what's his face? Katanga.
Live and Let Die. Yeah, Kananga. Yeah.
Kananga. Yeah. At least Christopher Walken didn't blow up into a human air balloon.
A walking balloon.
Jesus. Man, you were full of these today.
Yeah.
You were.
That's what I'm here for.
All right. What about you?
So I love like you kind of mentioned earlier, I love the very real and believable methods that Zoran uses to put Bond in danger, especially like making it look like accidents. You know, it's, drowning him in a car, leaving him in a fire, the horse, having henchmen or whatever you want to call them on the horse and everything like that. So, as well as like stuff in the mines, like a lot of it is real and believable danger.
Yeah.
And elevated a little bit to make it more exciting, obviously, but the plot is not overly complex. There are some aspects of it, aside from the time we spend on the horse racing for no real reason. It's still a lot of fun. Like I looking back, it's like, yeah, you could cut a big chunk of this movie out, but when you're watching it, it's paced really well, and you move from scene to scene really, really, I think in a really good way. So the characters are a lot of fun. Like I loved Sir Godfrey.
Mm-hmm.
Bond I think is pretty good in this with interacting with the various characters. I like Zorin. I like Scarpine, his like right-hand man. Mayday is interesting, visually, and I sort of love this movie. I know it's not regarded, as we found out, like it's not considered one of the best Bond movies out there, but I had a lot of fun with this one.
Yeah.
I'm not going crazy and giving it a 5, but I'm happy that you gave it a 4 because I also had a 4 written down. So I think a solid 4 is completely justified with this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised by those scores. Really.
Yeah. Like watching it, like I didn't come across anything that I just couldn't stand. And it's weird because before recording, like I watched or listened to the How Did This Get Made episode that they did on this movie, and they had it was like a crossover between How Did This Get Made and James Bonding. And so almost everybody was like ripping this movie apart except for Matt Gorley, who's one of the James Bonding hosts. Like he loves this movie too, and was defending like everything,
I'll have to listen to that. Yeah,
it's a great listen, but it's weird. Like it's even with the stuff that they were pointing out as like flaws and everything, it's like it doesn't bother me, So yeah, it's a weird one that I would definitely watch this one again if I'm like going back and I just feel like putting on a Bond movie. I'm gonna definitely go for this one. As far as just easy to rewatch, easy to enjoy, it's got everything you need. It doesn't have some of the stuff. It doesn't have a classic car. It doesn't have great gadgets. The Bond girl isn't that great, but somehow, like, even without some of those things, like, it still really, really works for me. So,
I mean, I know I believe it was Octopussy was last.
Yeah.
So maybe that one did so well that this was a letdown? Because I know that one's highly thought of, or at least it's brought up a lot because of the name. But now I want a Rotten Tomato Octopussy just to see if maybe it was just low because it's a letdown from that one, perhaps.
Maybe.
But that was a weird movie, I thought.
Octopussy. Yeah. I don't remember loving that one. I don't remember what we gave it.
Well, that one doesn't seem to be too highly rated either.
Yeah.
I guess people just were sick of Roger Moore.
I think that could be part of it, yeah.
Because, that was 42%, 47%. So.
Oh, wow, that was a while ago. Oh, okay, we both gave it a 2.5. So, we didn't love it.
I didn't remember liking it either.
Yeah.
So I thought this was way better than Octopussy.
I totally agree. So.
Even with that weird little cat dish that said pussy on it in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome. Really? But yeah, so we're going to have to disagree with you, tomato people.
Yeah.
We were with you on Octopussy, but we're parting ways here on A View to a Kill. Roger Moore, good on you for leaving on a high note.
You've been redeemed. Yeah. You did well, sir.
I feel better now.
Good. I was worried that you wouldn't like this one. I kind of thought you would find it too long, find it, ridiculous, or I mean, I don't know. I didn't expect you to have a good time with this one. So
it was long, but it was so full of well done action that and even I don't know if it's because I kept waiting for Christopher Walken it, like really just go out of his mind, but he kept it pretty in check.
Yeah, and then there's a few times where he kind of gets a little crazy and then kind of steals himself. Like, okay, let's rein it in. I know
Although throwing that guy into the propeller, kind of a risky move.
Yeah.
It's these machines are kind of sensitive.
But I do like that they check back at the monitor, the gauge, and it does it kind of it's having a problem with it. But then once it gets through all the bones, essentially, it's like, oh, we're good. It leveled back out. So.
Oh yeah. So
I could keep talking about this for a while, but I think we should probably
wrap it up
there. And so let us know what you think of A View to a Kill. I'd love to get some listener feedback on, is it just us? Do other people have a good time with this one? Obviously, if you're a contributor over at Rotten Tomatoes, you didn't have that great of a time with it. But I would really like to know where this lands on the citizens. list of Bond movies. So, yeah, reach out to us there, and you can hit us up at reelcomicheroes@gmail.com. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Real Comic Heroes. We've got a new Facebook group. You can join the League of Citizens if you want to join there, and you can talk about this stuff a little bit more with us. And yeah, I think that's all the plugs for now. But
yeah, what do we got coming up next?
I don't think you're gonna like it very much.
Yeah, I think it's a little film about time travel, if I remember correctly.
Gotta go back in time.
Great Scott! Yeah, I can't do a
Marty.
Doc. Yeah, you gotta like talk while losing your breath at the same time to do a Doc Brown.
Yeah. So yeah, next time on Real Comic Heroes, Back to the Future.
Nice. God, it's gonna be a tough one to do because I'm already biased again. Like, I love it so much.
Right.
And it's like one of those movies that's iconic, so it's like everyone loves it.
Right.
And anybody that doesn't is just being contrary to everybody else. Or
Sure.
They're trying to be hipster about it.
Right.
So it's going to be a odd one to view in this way.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I'm going to have to actually look at it and kind of nitpick.
Judge it.
Yeah. And
sure.
I didn't like doing that with Indiana Jones, and I have a feeling I'm not going to like doing it with this either.
Okay, yeah.
I get weird when I'm doing movies that I just wholeheartedly am a fan of.
Oh, so you've seen this one.
Shut it. Yes, I've seen this one. It's the one with the Old West, right?
I think so.
Yeah. They go back in time, and then they hang out with...
and that one old guy has a almanac, and...
Yeah, and they I like that they go. I like that Doc Brown chooses that time period. That's such a random ass time to go back to.
The Old West, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think in the 50s, it was like very romanticized, like the that old cowboy, like the 50s.
It just looks like it would smell constantly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just from like if you've watched Deadwood, you know that like the old West was not a great place.
Yeah, I just figured if you're a scientist, you'd want to go to the future and see what science has done.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to go backwards and see how horrible it was with doctors bleeding you out to cure you. Or not even doctors, barbers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
We will eventually get there, but yeah.
Yeah, we got good old Twin Pines Mall Marty and Doc Brown.
It should be some fun. So
I hear it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that'll do it. We will see you guys in the past or the future, trying to get back to the future.
It's up to you. The future is yours.
That's right.
So yeah, so stay safe. Stay safe out there, citizens.
Steven Spielberg presents Back to the Future, a Robert Zemeckis film. Marty leads an ordinary life.
No McFly ever amounted to anything in the history of Hill Valley.
Yeah, well, history is going to change.
And 1985 is not his year. But Dr. Brown is about to change all that.
Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
He's sending Marty 30 years back in time.
It works! It's a flying saucer from outer space!
Now, he's trapped in the past.
It's gotta be a dream.
About to meet...
Chocolate.
His future father.
He's a peeping Tom.
Wow!
And he's making an impression on his mother.
He's an absolute dream. And he can sleep in my room.
Anything you do could have serious repercussions on future events.
Now, he's got to make his mother and father fall in love.
For crying out loud, I haven't even been born yet.
And only Dr. Brown can help him get back to the future.
Are you telling me that this sucker is nuclear?
Precisely.
Michael J. Fox.
Whoa, this is heavy.
Christopher Lloyd.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Back to the Future.
Damn it, I didn't put a Spaceballs reference in.
If you want to try and do one here, I might be able to edit it in somewhere, but...
Damn it.
That's
now
awesome.
I'm just going to do it to piss off Rory. I'm going to randomly do it.